pumpkin scarfies can only mean one thing, right, Frankie? And that is that it's October around here. And October it is. In fact, we are smack dab in the middle of October. And it was absolutely a delightful day today. It can't qualify as Indian summer because we haven't had a frost yet, even though we're in the middle of October. But it's very nice today. Nice working outside. And things are really slowing down in the garden. If you look right where Frankie is touring, this is the what used to be the melon patch and ground cherries, and this is all where the winter squash used to be. And as you can see, it's just turned into one big marigold garden, which I said in a previous video, it's kind of nice to grow marigolds around because when everything else is done for, at least you still have marigolds going. And Frankie has turned into be just a gardening hound. He loves it out here. He's already discovered that tomatoes taste pretty darn good, and so does corn, even though we're pretty much out of everything. So we'll have to wait till next year for the rest of them. But he loves it out here, and he's continues to be a joy to have out in the garden, as well as inside the house. But anyway, that was bed 6 and 5. We're kind of going backwards. This is bed 4, and this is the pole beans, and they still look great. Now this is the yardlongs. They're completely done for. Here is lima beans, and the lima beans have been pretty non-productive this month. There's a few of them in there. You can see. Let me see if I can show you that one. There you go. That's a good shot. A good lima bean pod. But there's not very many of them. I'm not sure why they didn't produce so much, but we're getting a few anyway. These are scarlet runners, and I've harvested a whole bunch of them. And there's still more coming in. They'll be done with the first frost, but I'm going to get some more out of these. I'll pull some more of these tonight. And even the Kentucky Wonders are still coming in. Looking not too bad. Some nice sized pods there. So I'll pull some of those tonight too. And because we haven't had a frost yet, even though I pulled a whole bunch of peppers in anticipation of getting a frost at any time, you can still, you can see that these plants are still doing fine, not producing as much as they were before, but there's still peppers around, and so that's not too bad. Maybe when we get a frost predicted, we'll come pull the last few of those. This is where the tomatoes used to be, and the pups can still occasionally find tomato in under all the hay mulch there. Jesse's looking in case there might be corn in the corn stalks there. Then on the end of this row again is some more peppers, and of course, since we haven't had a frost yet, these, which are korabachi, are coming in pretty good. In fact, it looks like there might be a nice red one down here. Yeah, that's I think that's a red Marconi. Nice pepper. Meanwhile, we've fired up the tiki torches because it gets dark kind of early out here, and it's clouding over right now, which is making it even darker. But on to bed number 3 here, which was the potatoes, and then I planted some brassicas, but I didn't tend to the brassicas very well. So they just got eaten by caterpillars, so I finally pulled all them. Not much here happening in bed number 2, but at the end of bed number 2 is really the only thing that's producing, pretty much the only thing that's producing. There's some carrots coming in, and the beets, and I'm still getting some of the original carrots. So that's pretty much the only area that's producing. This is where the other brassicas were, including the Brussels sprouts, which were a total bust this year. I finally just pulled them. They were nothing but caterpillar feed. And here's, of course, the other thing that is, I guess, really the most consistent and long-lived producer that there is, and that's chives. These were planted years and years ago. They come back every year, and they're the first thing to be ready in the spring and the last thing to give out in the fall. So if you want something that is a success year after year, find a little spot for some chives. They just do great. Frankie is next to a discarded pumpkin and getting into something that he probably shouldn't be getting into, but that's okay. Anyway, what else we got here? All the winter squashes or summer squashes plowed under. These okra pods are long since edible, but what I decided to do with the last ones of these is let them completely grow and dry out, and then I'm going to try to harvest the seeds because these are supposed to be an heirloom variety. So I figured, well, let me try and see if I can actually use these seeds next year. So that's kind of the first time I'm really trying to do something like this. Sweet potatoes. I finally pulled the sweet potatoes a little ahead of the first frost because I was in a race with the rodents to see who's going to be able to eat more, me or them. And so I just pulled them all early. And the bad news is there was a lot of rodent damage. But the good news is that even with the rodent damage, we got 25 pounds of sweet potatoes, and I've already been eating them, frying them up in the old Actifry, which seems to work pretty well for sweet potatoes. Mix them with onions, and they've been great. They don't keep as well as regular potatoes, so I'll eat those first. But a good harvest, basically. 25 pounds, that's not bad. And they are tasting lovely. What else we got going on here? Not much. We might be pretty much done for October. Here's the winter squash and pumpkins. I did end up getting a couple of rumbo squash. Lost all the rest of them to rodent damage. But not a bad little harvest for winter squash. And not much with the fruit trees. We did get a good peach harvest. I've got a couple of Red Delicious apples out there, and a few Granny Smiths that might be okay. They're not even ready yet. They take a long time. But that is gonna do it. It is the middle of October. It's a lovely day, has been a lovely day. We have yet to see our first frost, but the garden is really cranking down, and we're quickly heading towards the slumbers of winter. But it'll be still nice to come out to the garden for at least a couple weeks till the time changes, and then it'll probably be too dark most of the time before I get home to come out here anymore. But still, October 2011, Marvin Gardens, and that's going to do it for this time. And we'll see y'all next month in November, when we will be heavily into the holiday season once again. Comes around quickly, don't you think? So that's going to do it for us. We'll see you next time, November. Bye. Hey, Josie. Good girl. Where's that Frankie?